The Trouble Would Never has one of the best choruses on the album, and honestly, it has an awesome riff, great solo. It's just a superb song, really. Superb rock song. Then the next one's Out of Space, another real rockin' track. It's got an interesting bridge that I'm still not too fond of necessarily, but another awesome chorus, great solo. Kind of, on the level of She's the Woman. Again, nothing truly special, but just an awesome song nonetheless. Then after that, you have Stay Frosty. Now, a lot of people have considered this the sequel to Ice Cream Man. But, I don't know. I think some of these people tend to neglect songs such as Fools and Take Your Whiskey Home and The Full Bug, which are all variations of Ice Cream Man. And, this one kind of falls in the same path. You have like a minute and a half of, like this acoustic thing where Dave is just singing over it, and then the band comes in just, really kicking it into high gear, and then the rest of the song is just really rocks. That was what Ice Cream did, and that's what Stay Frosty does. But, I guess if people want to call this a sequel, they can. To me, I actually like Stay Frosty maybe better than Ice Cream Man. The first part kind of sounds like the Led Zeppelin song Friends. That one's an acoustic song too, and this one you can kind of hear a little bit of that in the first part of this song. And this is just a very fun song. It's got really awesome solos by Eddie. The outro one is just great. In fact, one of the best on the album for sure. Yeah, and this is one of my favorites on the album, definitely. And then I want to talk about the last song, which is called Beat Twerkin'. Now that one, when talking about influences again, this one sounds like AC/DC's Walk All Over You from Highway to Hell. Pretty awesome. It has that intro, and then when David starts singing, this is where my big negative point on the album is. And Beat Twerkin' is the best song to show the negativity of Dave singing, because pretty much every song on the album starts out awesome. And unfortunately, about half of them, when Dave starts singing, the song takes a step back. And it's unfortunate. Obviously, like I said, these guys are older. They're not quite what they used to be. And that isn't really quite true for the band as a whole, but it kind of is for Dave. Now, this one, the verses are okay. Once he starts, it kind of, like I said, it takes a step back. It starts off really awesome, then the vocals just aren't that great. Fortunately, Beats Working has a awesome midsection. Eddie has one of his best solos. He has like a regular solo thing, and then they slow things down a lot, and they go into this really awesome groove where Eddie continues his solo, and it's truly awesome. It's one of my favorite moments in the album, and the chorus is possibly my favorite on the whole album, and one of my favorites in the whole, maybe of all their stuff. Just an awesome chorus, great solo. Before I end up giving up my full score and everything, let me just finish with the last song on the whole album. And there's a reason why I left it for last. It's called Big River, and not only is this the best song on A Different Kind of Truth, it is one of the very best Van Halen songs ever. To me. I honestly cannot get enough of this song. David sounds good. Eddie has a few excellent solos. The riff is fantastic, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong on this, but I feel like there's a little bit of soul to this song, and maybe that's why it's so awesome. The chorus is really short. All it is Big River, and then Dave does some screaming, and honestly, it's awesome. It's one of the best moments of the album. whenever the chorus starts, it's short, but it's just so awesome. And honestly, I can't get enough of this song. Honestly, it's so good. And if they don't put this out maybe as the next single, then that's going to be unfortunate because people need to hear that they're really truly back. You know, Tattoo kind of, you know, was a song to me that kind of felt like a new age Van Halen, but stuff like Big River and everything sounds like classic stuff, sounds like stuff that they could have done back then, something that's just so great, you know. And this should be the type of song people should be hearing from them off this album, because it really showcases how good they still are. And, you know, Big River, oh my god, if you just listen to one song off this album, listen to that one. Trust me, you won't regret it. It's just such an awesome song, such a great tune. So yeah, there you go. 13 songs from Van Halen, and it's pretty great. I gotta tell you, there isn't a bad song on this album. And, you know, having said that, let me just say that there are no songs to skip. So every song is worth listening to. And when looking at the standouts, you have Blood and Fire, The Trouble With Never, Stay Frosty, Big River, and Beats Workin'. That's a lot of standouts. Now, you know, it might seem like I might be giving this another really, really high score again, but that isn't quite the case. I'll just tell you right now, I'm going to give A Different Kind of Truth an 8 out of 10. Now, the reason is because while this is a truly rockin' album, and, you know, I honestly am just so surprised and happy that they're back and making songs this great again, there's nothing about this album that's truly special, you know, and like it's just flat out an awesome album, you know, not something that will be remembered as, you know, their best or one of their absolute best or something like that. I feel like it's just an awesome album. My only negatives with it are that David Lee Roth doesn't quite sound as good as he used to. There are a few songs where when he starts singing, the songs take a step back, but they all really work themselves out to turn out to be worth listening to. And really that's it. Great album by Van Halen. Great return. And honestly, you know, lastly, all I want to say about A Different Kind of Truth is, you know, it's kind of gotten decent reviews from other people. Pretty good, but, you know, in the end, I kind of feel like this is the type of album that will be more looked at in a higher regard in the future. I feel like for the first time, a reunion album, or even an album from a band that's aging, has exceeded expectations more than anyone could have anticipated. I mean, again, when you look at AC/DC's Black Ice, that's good for their age. You know, that was a good album for them at their age, in their 60s or so forth, you know, what they were a few years ago. You know, it wasn't something that could stack up to Back in Black or Highway to Hell, but it was good. It was good for them in their age now. You know, when you look at the Rolling Stones, A Bigger Bang, it's pretty good, but, you know, it's certainly nothing that can stand up to their stuff back in the day. But again, considering their age, it's pretty good. However, with Van Halen's A Different Kind of Truth, it's just flat out good. If this was released in 1980 with their other stuff, if they released another album in, say, 1983, the only year they didn't release one with David Lee Roth back then, it would still be just as good. And, you know, I feel like in the future, when people bring up things like, oh, you know, this band, whoever they are, I don't know, when, you know, whoever you're talking about, oh, they can't, you know, they can't be as good now because they're in their 50s. Oh, they can't rock as good now because they're too old. You know what? Yes, they can. Because now you can reference Van Halen and say, you know what? They can rock just as good. Because Van Halen did it. You know what? If those people know what they're talking about, they'll shut up. Because A Different Kind of Truth rocks. It rocks just as much as the other stuff Van Halen ever released. And it's their heaviest album. And honestly, folks, if you like Van Halen at all, you're going to enjoy this album. Go get it. Rock on.